Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 82 of the Corner Blue podcast. I'm Hugo Alvarado, and I'm here with Andres Rico. And here we are again, ready to talk about our national teams, our passion. And, we have the U17 going on right now, senior games coming up, and a lot of movement in the Salvadorian national team world. How you doing, Andres?
Hey, Hugo, how's it going? You just getting some morning air, or what are you up to right now?
Yeah, I'm here in my yard, just trying to get good lighting. My lighting was really bad indoors, so
Nice, nice.
um, se me miraban más ojeras. So I was like, you know what, just a change of scene. Let's move outside. So here I am enjoying the pretty nice Southern California weather. Sunny, not hot. It's perfect in the low 70s, so that's perfect for me.
It looks a lot safer than that one time you we did an interview with Hugo Perez and you were out in the boonies at night, and I was scared that there'd be like a mountain lion creeping up on you at some point. So glad you're safe. It looks a lot safer, so enjoy it. Down here, or up here, I should say, in the Bay, it's definite autumn weather heading towards winter. It's like 60s, high 50s right now, and overcast, and it's gonna probably rain or something soon. But yeah, the differences. But yeah, no, I think like you said, there's a lot of stuff going on, movement. I think we just needed some time to be able to link up and decompress over the trip and the results. But first, I wanted to start off. I was asleep, but I know you were awake. Can you talk to us a little bit about the U17s and the match against Colombia?
Actually, I had the game at 6:15 in the morning. So I woke up at 6 and looked on the TV, and they were already on the 70th minute.
Oh man.
So I kind of messed up probably with the daylight savings time, and also I didn't realize that the time I was looking at was probably Salvadorian time. So I got to see mostly like the last 20 minutes or so of the game. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that the game was 0-0, especially after what happened in the first match against North Korea. Um, Mostly what I saw was the guys really leaving it all on the field. Mostly Colombia attacking, and we defended really well. Um, and maybe there was just one opportunity that I saw where I thought it could have ended better, but the guys were exhausted. Like you could tell that they had been fighting really hard and running a lot. It was a physical match. So like Tovar, you can clearly see that he was cramping up, and he basically played until the 90th minute.
And he ran the whole
Since the
time in the first match too.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't really say much about the game other than from what I saw in the last 20 minutes, we defended very well. I've seen other comments of from people saying something along those lines, but also adding that we created some opportunities when we could, but I just didn't have time to. I missed the match. I have to watch the recording later today.
Yeah, I think the main thing with, the U17s, I think the important thing is they're competing. This sets a precedent, and then it just shows you where there's room to work. And I think that coincides with what you were saying, that things are moving around at the Federation now that Eduardo Lara has been brought in to work with the youth national teams. And we were talking about this the other day, but basically this is going to be a yearly competition, right?
It's going to be yearly for 5 years. So this is the first year. So 2025, 20 all the way to 2030.
And I mean, granted, Lara was just brought in last month officially, and it seems like he's getting to work. Um, Hugo Perez is brought in to lead the sub federation, as they're calling it here in the United States, when it comes to scouting talent. And I think that can only bring positive things, considering that this first U17 that made it was put together, it seemed, in pretty brief time. So I'm hoping that this precedent just sets the table for hopefully getting there every year at least, and then if not, knowing okay, this is where we need the level we need to continue developing talent. And despite the first result, the 5-0, were you able to watch that one, Uwe?
I started watching. I watched the first half.
Yeah, I feel like, these are kids that are at a U17 level. We know the conditions that have existed. I think just being at the competition is very important. And hopefully the conclusions can be taken, especially from the first match. It seems like the kids were able to, uh, mentally be prepared and pulling a result like a 0-0 against Colombia is huge. And next on the table is Germany. That will be interesting. Hopefully, fatigue won't be a huge factor. Just one thing I did notice is, yeah, we were a little on the left side. Korea was doing a lot of damage. I was very surprised at at the North Korean style, which was very direct, very quick in transitions. It wasn't just a long ball attack or anything like that. Like they were putting decent amount of touches together in their attacks and then getting into that final third. So that's what I was really impressed by. And then from the Salvadoran squad, Tovar was the one that stood out where, he was basically just kind of doing things by himself, making runs, receiving the long balls and trying to battle with the center backs or whoever was guarding him. But it just seemed like he had no one to play off of. So I don't know if that was the same with the second match, but hopefully, along the way, they can start touching it in the final third or getting to the final third. Well, what's your take on the U17 World Cup? What are some of the initiatives that you've noticed that are taking in place that we could consider as like something novel?
Yeah. Well, I think that the fact that we're having a World Cup, a U17 World Cup every year, should be something that we should try to do our best in preparing those teams, take advantage of that opportunity of potentially going into every World Cup. Um, as as we know, the formats are pretty accessible, um, very similar to the current one. I don't have the upcoming group off the top of my head, but I believe there's groups of five, and the first team goes to the World Cup, the first place. And from what I saw on what's coming up next, it's a group that we have the possibility. Just talking about 2026, but basically what I've seen, and this is part of what Lara and Hugo Perez are working together on, is trying to recruit and have a base of players for the current U16, which will be the U17s that will be competing in February for the 2026 World Cup, which, by the way, all the World Cups will be in Qatar. That's the contract that FIFA has with Qatar. So the venue is going to be the same every year until 2030, I believe. So, I mean, what I've seen is that, yes, there's an emphasis on recruiting and working as soon as possible with those players born in 2009, 2010. 2010s would be the ones competing in 2027 for that World Cup and so on. So I think that the current committee and the upcoming Yamil's committee has a very clear understanding, and he's made it very clear many times that the priority will be what they're calling the infanto juveniles, really focusing on those and supporting those teams. And that's I think that in many ways that's the formula, because if you get those players, with some experience in World Cups, even if they're youth World Cups, that's going to help you a lot when eventually those players become U20 players, and hopefully they become senior team players. So, and the more you go, I mean, I can't. You would think. I mean, I would think, just thinking positive, that if we manage to go to every World Cup, or at least three out of the five, that will be every year, at least a few players will get an opportunity to go play abroad. I'm hoping, and that's going to help to bring the level up of our players and eventually our national team. So I think that there's a lot that's been initiated to take that opportunity of having a World Cup every year very seriously, and try to be uh, to have an opportunity to be in every World Cup moving forward. So I think there's a lot of efforts being put in that area from what I can see.
I think the fact that there's that motivation of the tournament every year, kind of shows that there's like immediate rewards if you put the work in. Something that has been kind of neglected for decades is a U17. So this concept of the immediate rewards and then seeing the federation respond the way that it has, can only I can think that can it can only lead to something positive in terms of where there was a vacuum, where there was nothing happening at that level, and then hopefully it'll lead to the development of, the youth leagues, either collegiate leagues or youth club or just recreational leagues, something that will feed these teams locally. But then also I'm glad that something is being done here in the US, and then obviously hopefully you'll be able to continue recruiting players beyond the US and El Salvador. So I think if anything, despite the negative outcomes of October, I think there's a bright light in the sense that there's being work done with trying to develop and identify talent. I just think at this point, with the senior squad, I think I don't know. You know me, I'm a cautious pessimist, and I think at this point, I think it's time to turn the table. Granted, turn the table on 2026, though I would like to see the team go and fight tooth and nail for the 6 points away, because this group is weird. So with that, let's make the transition to the matches in October. It was a great experience for me as a fan, in the sense of being able to go back to El Salvador and go to El Cusca after several years of not over 10 years of not seeing a match there. Seeing family, just getting a little getaway, footy getaway. It was a great experience for me. Ooh, how was it for you? How did you live it? Because I mean, I think it was a special moment. I feel, especially for you being able to go there and yeah, talk about it with us.
Yeah, I think this entire qualifier will be one to remember for me. As everybody knows, this is the first time that I'm actually in it. Uh, um, there, basically, I'm experiencing in real life the things that I used to watch on TV, or what I will used to listen to on the radio. More like, in terms of what's going on internally with the national team, and just being there. I think that will always be special for me. There's always, that those memories will probably stay with me forever. October was even more special because I got to take my kids and my wife to watch the game. So, seeing my kid, my oldest one, my 10-year-old singing the national anthem, that's, and I didn't ask him to do it. I didn't ask him to learn it. I didn't ask him for anything, because that's just the way I am. And he asked for his face to be painted with the flag, and he wanted the band, and he wanted all the jerseys he can possibly get, and just to see them experience that with me, on game day, that will forever be special. So, and I don't know what that's creating inside of them as well, because I feel like that's how you develop a sense of identity, right? They were born in the States. They know that for me, El Salvador is everything in terms of soccer, and for them to see them kind of following my footsteps in that sense, it was incredible to experience that, and Yeah, I think they got to experience the best of everything. The first day, the first game against Panama, they got to be at a very special zone in the stadium, and uh, amazing view, and it was great, for them. And then game two, they got to be in Platea with the people, with like, unfortunately, most of we were surrounded by a lot of Guatemalans where we were.
Shame,
And
shame.
so, I mean, the experience was amazing. It's a combination of mixed feelings because obviously I think we would have wanted to get at least 3 points out of the six, and that didn't happen. Which leaves us in a very difficult situation. But for the always positive, optimistic person like me, it's not over until it's over. So there's a lot of things can happen. Mathematically, we're still there. Of course, we will have to win the two upcoming games, and hope and wait for other results. But I think no matter what, the team has a responsibility to end in the best way possible. And for me, the best way possible would be to go out there and get some points. Um, why not get those 6 points? We'll see. It won't be easy, but I think it's pretty um, exciting just to know that we could still potentially make it. I know the chances are probably like 0.35 or whatever.
Yeah, it's less than one
But
percent.
yeah, but we're still fighting for something.
Yeah.
They're not just games just to complete the competition. So yeah, the experience has been amazing, and unfortunately, yeah, we didn't get the results. And what gives us hopes, I think it's what's being done with the upcoming administration. I think that's at least that eases the pain in a way, to know that maybe for the first time in decades, we can we can hope to accomplish something, but not just by hoping, but actually putting in the work. Uh, you know, Building a clear path, a program that would lead us to where we want to go. I know it doesn't guarantee anything, but at least that work is being done to accomplish those outcomes, and not just out of luck because we had a decent group of players, or because we got lucky or whatever. But we're actually going to have a clear path, it looks like, to be able to say, hey, I don't know, in 2030, I know that might even be too soon, but just as an example, we this is what we're going to do in order to have the highest chances of qualifying in 2030 or something like that. So I think that really helps to see what's being done to create those results that we all want to see.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway from this whole campaign is that the administrative woes definitely played a huge factor in how things played out. Um, and one thing that was brought up by Leo Enriquez on his Twitter, but then also in a chat I was a part of with the Salvadoran American stream, is that there needed to be a kind of like a line drawn between blaming the usual reasons and administrative woes and analyzing that, and then also the way that the team played in a sense. And I think one thing that definitely you can't divide and think that one exists or that they're mutually exclusive, because I feel like the administrative woes led to Bolillo being brought in with the time frame that he had, and I think that time frame kind of affected his ability to prepare this team, heading into September. And I think one clear example of that was the game against Guatemala. You know, Panama, he used the system that worked against Guatemala away, and then against Guatemala, since there was a pressure to get those 3 points, that's when he seemed to try and go out with a more offensive mindset and bringing in Nathan, Heel, and Josh to play off of each other. But they had limited minutes together, if any. And Josh started his first game since coming back, and so I think that kind of affected things where the number of minutes that some of the players had together kind of showed where they're still getting to know each other and play off of each other. The first half was, I thought, was very exciting, well played. Just got a little unlucky. And then the second half, for some reason, the team kind of came on the pitch very flat. Guatemala scores its goal within the first 2 minutes of the second half. And after that, it was just a pressure cooker. And, unfortunately, you know, there was a clearance off of the line. There was a ball off of the crossbar. Like, there were instances that were created, but it just, I think because of the pressure, it just added up and things didn't work out. And so I'm hoping, going into the 2030 campaign, regardless of the results of the next window, and hopefully, yes, we do get those 6 points at least. But I think consistency needs to be part of whether we make it to 2030. Stability needs to be a factor heading into 2030. And hopefully being able to have the players identified and playing off of each other and not having to improvise, 6 months 6 months into the final qualifying phase, I think would be a definite improvement from this time. I think the typical improvisation was what kind of killed everything with this qualifying campaign, despite the accessibility due to the format. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, think about it. We have the new board looming and their tenure starting. We have the emphasis on developing youth and the youth teams. And then another factor, and I bet you probably drove by it, but it was surprising while I was there in El Salvador, driving on La Jerusalén, and then seeing, the frame of the stadium, the lower bowl starting to take shape for the new national stadium. So that's a new reality too. So I think this is just indicative of a transition, and hopefully, definitely for the better. It was interesting being at El Cusca during these circumstances, with La Selecta having its back to the wall. I feel like the fans did an amazing job of supporting. I would say, especially in the match against Guatemala, up until the writing was on the wall, like, there were chants, there were songs being sang in a way that I hadn't seen El Cusca do it for La Selecta, other than the usual, like, El Salvador, that chant. But there were other songs being sang, and it wasn't just the Barra Azul or El Vietnam. It was making its rounds around the stadium. So, atmosphere-wise, it was an amazing experience. The Panama game, the Wata game. What I admired about this experience was, I think in part because of booze not being sold, and then also the conditions of the country, people were very well behaved and respectful of the people around them. It was great seeing families, kids, being able to take in games. But I definitely enjoyed the heckling and the back and forth between Salvadoran fans. Once they started identifying the Chapinas in the crowd, it was bliss. Like, it was like, okay, the essence of El Cusca hasn't been completely like whitewashed or watered down. Like there's still an edge to this place. Like I saw some fans that tried sneaking into Vietnam, some Chapines, and saw them immediately get kicked out once they were identified by the fans. Like bliss, but because it would have been heresy to see Chapines, away fans at it in Vietnam like that. That would have never happened. So I'm glad they were able to identify them and they survived and they walked out of there fine. Um, as a fan, yeah, it was great being there. It was nerve-wracking, like you said, to be live in the flesh, a moment that you know is crucial. Like things are gonna play out right here, right now. Like I don't know how you lived it. For me, it was exciting but very stressful. Just to be like, oh, okay, this is about to happen right here. Things are gonna play out.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, again, um, it's hard to describe, and you're living a moment in history, right, where it can go either way. I mean, if we had won, we would be talking about a different story here, but you're there. It's
Mhm.
like I think for me, the experiences of how certain things took place for me, there will be things that I'll probably be talking about for a long time. In terms of how it was for me, for the kids. They got to meet the players at the end of the game. It's and then to know that we were potentially experiencing the last qualifiers at El Cusca. That's special as well. Um, so yeah, it's I don't think there's anything like it.
Yeah.
And I at some point you kind of get used to the craziness and the big differences in terms of how to access the stadium and um like
Which
there's
was more
one
organized this
entrance.
time. This was more organized than previous times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, very different than what you experience in the States, where you have three doors or four doors and multiple accesses to the same zones. Here is different. It's like you miss your entrance and you have to go around, or it's at least for me that of its own, it's different, especially going with family where um I don't just go with the play go in the bus, and then it's like things are very simple. Like this time I actually also got to experience the traffic and the walking through the streets to get to the stadium, and
It's a whole experience.
watching the team arrive. And I was like, a part of me was like, oh, I could have been there, but at the same time, I was like, I'm grateful that I'm here and I'm with the kids and they get to see the whole atmosphere. My youngest one was throwing up and in line. He got really sick the day of the second game, and
Oh
I was
man.
like, oh no. I was ready to like anything, right? I was like, I might have to miss this game or go back to the hotel or whatever. But he's tough, he got it all out and he was like, okay, ready to go, and
Nice, nice.
he enjoyed the game. So yeah, the fans did amazing. I think that you can't complain. They stood with the team in moments that were very difficult. They supported. At least I think it was more than the the first game we had against Suriname.
Yeah.
Where I think there were moments where things were just quiet, and it's so strange because you're like, wow, this stadium has the potential to like get together and start supporting the team, but to see silence, it's that's pretty rough to experience as well. How emotionally we can drop. I mean, and it happened a little bit in the against Panama and Guatemala, but at least the guys that were in the Sol General, they kept going at it. They
Yeah.
never stopped. So yeah, that was pretty incredible.
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever experienced a level of blue balls in my life after the goal was taken away against Panama. Like, yeah, when we thought it went in, it's that euphoria that you feel, that like just that special feeling like things are going your way, like this may happen. This is what we've been waiting for. And to get that taken away, oh my God, it's the worst. That whole match, man, just the fact that VAR took the role that it did and just the discrepancies in its usage, sorry, just kind of makes you question things a little bit. And then I think against Wate, just things did not go our way for various reasons. Like I said, I feel like part of it was the lack of minutes together, the lack of minutes that the team went on attack mode throughout the campaign and kind of shifting away from Bolillo ball. But regardless, I think having pieces like Nathan, like Brian Heath, like Josh starting to play off of each other, I think is only going to be helpful for the future. Also, props to Valladares. I feel like we saw a complete emergence of Valladares. He had been looking kind of, when it came to his physicality, I had some doubts along the way, especially when Doniga brought him up. But I'd say, these last two matches, like, the guy's my height, like 5'6", 5'7", or shorter. But that dude was just mauling people and was all over the flank on the right. And, I tip my hat off to him. Like, that is another important piece that has emerged throughout this qualifying campaign that's been a surprise, a pleasant surprise. And so it's nice to see the heir apparent, the next right back in line emerge. Not saying that the Macas isn't going to have, chances at minutes and whatnot, but I think Valladares is the future. But yeah, it's just so many mixed emotions. To me, there was just something special about being able to, because what we did with my cousins, we met up at one of his friend's house that has like an apartment by Lomas de San Francisco, the neighborhood right by there, and we walked like 30 minutes downhill, calle Antigua, Huizúcar, and it's just awesome when you're walking in a neighborhood and if you wouldn't know where you're at, and then poof, all of a sudden the stadium appears, on the horizon. Just those moments and the excitement of people on the street, just the energy overall, at least heading into the Panama game, was very special, very special. And hopefully the fan base can have something to get excited about with this next qualifying campaign. Because I feel, yeah, a good show was put on, and I feel that the fans were definitely behind the team in ways that in other years have not, or even, like you said, the match against Suriname at home. I just remember the Los Cobos era at the beginning, how that stadium would be empty, grasshoppers. I remember my first game at Cusca, the stadium was empty in a friendly match against Honduras, and we got spanked like 4-0. So to see the stadium at capacity, as in its final curtain call, was something special. And it's a bummer it didn't work out, but I was definitely glad to be there. And there were signs along the way that I feel like I was at the right place, right time. And what's the sense that you have moving forward, Hugo? It was awesome to see you at the Federation in your capacity. I snuck in, went to the press conference before the Wate gig, and got some footage there. So it was nice to be back in some capacity as a journalist, filming and meeting some of the journalists from El Salvador, people that I've met throughout the years. It was awesome. But how was that experience, being on the inside, prepping those matches, and yeah, what are some of the core memories that you've developed or the experiences that you've had being on the inside?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think many years ago I would only imagine about like I would just think about this is what the players are doing now, and like they're in the hotel. And of course eventually at some point I started when I started scouting, and I would stay in touch with some of the players during concentration. They would tell me some of the things, that we're experiencing. So to get to be there, it's special. You start building a bond. It's like a family, basically, and you kind of look forward to those meals together with the team, and just hanging out, and getting to see how the energy of the team is going, and you get a sense of what's coming up. If the players are pumped and looking forward to it, and everything leading up to it. I don't know, it's unexplainable. It's hard to explain. But again, like I said earlier, I think this whole qualifier will be a memorable one for me, um, because of how I've got to experience it from the inside,
For sure.
compared to in the past, where going back to the 90s as a strictly a fan, to the 2000s, where I was kind of getting a glimpse into what it's like, but still had to experience it as a fan. And then, now to be able to be in it, yeah, it's pretty special. It's definitely something that will stay with me forever, I think.
No, for sure. Yeah, it was cool being back at the Federation, seeing the different buildings that have gone up around. It's funny how that one Mercado is just like right next to like the main training pitch. The pitch was looked awesome in comparison to how I'd seen it previously. Like that was the one that the U20s used to train on, and they dump them over there. So it was nice to see like that's like the pitch that they use, and they've improved it and whatnot. So yeah, it was just nice revisiting it all. Fortunately, the results didn't go our way. It was, cool on the flight, seeing all the fans that were heading over there and chatting it up with some of them, fellow fans on the way there. I know you lived that experience too. Um, yeah, great experience overall. And here's to seeing what happens with the next couple of games. But as your cautious pessimist, I'm already looking forward to 2030 and how things turn around for that. And I think with that, we'll close off this episode. Thanks everybody for your patience while we were able to link up and set something up to record. I know that a lot of us were definitely disappointed with the results, but it'll be nice to get back into it in November, see how things play out. The crazy thing about this whole situation is none of the home teams have won. So that just gives you an inkling of how freakish this qualifying campaign has been, or this round has been, that none of the home teams have won. Everything is still out there in theory. El Salvador needs to take 6 points away and then hope for ties. So that's how things are. It almost played out for us against Guate when Panama and Suriname tied. I was looking at my phone, checking the score. So we'll see how things play out. And Hugo, are you going to be out there for any of the matches?
It's still pending. I'm at an 80% yes on Panama.
Nice, nice. That'd be sick.
Suriname definitely not making it to that one, but I feel like it'll be a nice way to wrap up this entire qualifier experience,
Mhm.
and support the team, and who knows, we beat Suriname, and that game takes a huge importance. So
Yeah.
yeah, most likely I'm not sure yet, but I'm trying to make it to Panama.
Dope, dope. Yeah, I think the main thing is trying to close this thing out the best way possible. And I think the pieces that will help us with the next qualifying round, I feel have been identified. And obviously, you can only continue to add. Um, and I feel that that's a huge change from the transition of between the last qualifying round and now, where just things were dynamited along the way administratively. And hopefully, we have that stability, that long long needed and wanted stability heading into 2030. But all right, I think we'll aim to record around the time that the qualifying campaign wraps up, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, there's cool stuff to talk about. I just want to see some goals, man, and not taken away by VAR. And so yeah, remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram. You can catch our podcast on the Spreaker app, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and we post our videos on YouTube. So don't forget to share. It's a way of processing, you know? You're not alone in it. We're processing it. It's already been almost a month after. So thanks again for your patience, and we'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.